Welcome, everyone. I'm very excited tonight to be interviewing Linda Marks. I ran into her about 2012, I believe it was, when I was at the BACA showcase. And I had featured a couple of, about three of my songs and I'm not usually a songwriter, as you know, I'm a classical composer, but I introduced three songs and met her there and have heard her works ever since. And although we haven't kept in touch a lot, I've been very impressed with the prolific amount of music she's written. She's produced over 14 CDs over the years and also has a full-time job. It's just impressive that she does all that. Welcome, Linda. Welcome today. Let me just tell you a little bit about her. She's a renowned composer, Grammy-nominated songwriter. She recently performed at Club Cafe, where I attended that in downtown Boston. And she's a prolific songwriter. As I mentioned, her songs often explore powerful emotions and thought-provoking themes. We'll talk something about that today. She's performed at all kinds of clubs, Ryles and Skipjacks, Amazing Things Art Center, Scullers Jazz Club, the Java Room, Club Passim, La Roma Cafe, Club Cafe, the Hearing Room, Grill 37, the Burren, City Winery, the Dedham Square Coffeehouse, just goes on and on. She holds degrees at Yale and MIT, just some of the top of the best here, and the author of Living with Vision and Healing the War Between the Genders. And so, welcome, Linda. Welcome tonight.
Thanks so much, Andrew. It's a privilege and pleasure to be here.
Oh, sure, my pleasure. Tell me a little bit about now. One of the stories I remember hearing about from you is that when you were a little girl, you didn't talk very much, and even at the age of three, but you were somehow drawn to the piano and just magically
Hmm.
started picking up immediately and started
Yep.
playing tunes from as young an age as you can believe. So tell me about that. What's kind of the seminal thing in your life that made you realize you're going to be a musician one way or another?
Well, what I would just say is I realized I just was a musician. I was born a musician.
Mm,
And I could say music is my first and native language. It's the
mm,
language of my heart and soul. And as a quiet introvert who's learned to be an ambivert in the world because you have to be able to talk to people,
yeah.
I took everything in at a sensual, intuitive level as a little girl. And I would toddle my way to any piano I could find because we didn't have one at home. And I just put my hands on the keys and just start writing because it just felt like home. So,
Wow.
at some level, I always knew who I was. My journey has been more to accept it and to counter a father whose mantra was music is a waste of a good mind, who did
Oh,
everything he could to stifle it. So,
my God.
I knew who I was, and this was my voice and my language. And
Mm,
it's taken a lifetime to embrace that and just let it run through me. And that's part of why my catalog is deep, as I've accepted and embraced and celebrated that this is me. I wrote a song actually in grammar school called My Music Is Me. When I was even as a little kid, I was aware that it was me.
wow.
But the more deeply I've said this is me, and the more I've let my channel just be open, then I'm touched by life, I'm touched by people, and songs are how I respond.
Hmm. That's beautiful. Now, you do a lot of other work too besides writing music. Tell us about the rest of your life and what you do and how you got here.
Well, besides the fact that I have cats and a corgi, and some of the kitties might decide to show up and want to be on this show,
Uh-huh.
um, is I'm a heart-centered body psychotherapist, which is a mind-body approach to psychotherapy, and it's something I innovated and have been a pioneer in the field. I've done it most of my adult life, and I came to that work because some very traumatic things happened to me when I was little.
Mm,
I was a pioneer anorexic, probably the most humbling thing I pioneered. And again, with the very critical father, where no matter how perfect I was, it was never good enough.
mm,
I looked at an insurance chart when I was like a little girl, when I was like 11, 12, 13, and it said how a 5'7" tall person should weigh, which was not what I weighed. Even as a child, I weighed more than that because that had nothing to do with your bone structure. So
mm.
I proceeded to starve myself to the point that I got in that weight zone, and it made me very sick. And
Wow. Yeah.
I ended up talking with a doctor at the Mass General who was discovering this thing called anorexia, particularly in bright young girls from very critical families. So
Mm,
that was my initiation into how you need to let your body inform your mind rather than have the mind control the body.
mm,
But the second thing that was my real initiation, I was a little child who people would have considered like a Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy child. I was very, very, very young when they were killed, and Robert Kennedy. Most people that age would not have noticed, but it struck me because I was always a child who wanted to make a difference. And even though I was an introvert, I'm a natural social architect and leader of that sort, and I was doing it even in grammar school. So I was afraid that if I came into the world as who I was, that someone would try to do that to me. But as a 16-year-old coming home from my job at Boston's Fenway Park radio station, a stranger came out of the shadows and tried to do that to me.
Oh my
And I
goodness.
had to fight my way out of it. And that talk my way out of it. And even as a strong 16-year-old who played tennis, he was much bigger than me and very angry. And talking my way out only made him angry. So I had to turn it over to the God I was never raised to believe in. In my family, I thought God was dog spelled backwards, which I think is actually still a very good operating definition. And I basically said to God, I wanted to live because I'd been on my own life death border because of what my life was like. And I said, I want to live. And a little voice came through my heart that said, then you need to forgive this man. And without using my brain to think of what that meant, I spoke from my heart. I said, I forgive you. And he burst into tears and stopped beating me. And
Wow.
metaphorically, that was my first therapy client. And that's where the body psychotherapy originated, right there on my back in the alley at
Mm.
16. And so, I'm very grateful that rather than becoming a crime statistic, that was my turning point, which led to writing books, which led to appearances on national media.
Mm.
And while I wouldn't wish that on anyone, I realized how formative it was for me in understanding of the power of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And what I wear around my neck is a heart and a treble clef because, in essence, everything I do comes from the same source. Everything is about the power of the heart. And
Mm-hmm.
music is perhaps my heart's most native voice again. But it's the very same place from which I create, where my channel is open, which is what I've developed in myself as I've done my own healing to hold a space to heal others and facilitate groups of people and bring healing and build community.
Wow, that's a very powerful story. Are there some experiences that you've had as a psychotherapist? Have some experiences where you've been very fulfilling in terms of turning someone's life around without mentioning names that you might want to share with us?
Countless, countless. I mean, I could spend this whole time just giving you examples.
Right, right.
Yeah, I mean, just I'll give you two different ones as quickly as I can.
Mm.
A man was referred to me by a psychologist because he couldn't talk,
Oh,
and the psychologist didn't know what to do with him.
mm.
And I had a futon couch at the time, where I saw clients. And he proceeded to lay down on my futon couch, and I tried to, create as safe a space as I could, and his hands started to shake like that.
Oh my
And with his permission, I just asked him, "Is it okay if I hold your hands?" And he nodded yes.
God.
And I gave him my hands, and he grabbed onto them with a death grip
Mm.
and started to shake and cry. And it took a while before he could talk and tell me the story, but it was very clear he was a trauma survivor. And
Mm.
this was the entrance into the trauma. And
Wow.
because I didn't need him to talk and I could just read what was going on and I could create a safe space where he could just grab on, eventually I learned about his incredibly traumatic background of being in foster care, of being with abusive people, even there. I mean, it was a miracle that this man was who he was. He was a
Wow.
gentleman and he actually worked with trees.
Mm.
And he had made a very clear choice rather than to take all the pain and anger and use it for violence. He didn't want to do that. And so it was quite poignant that over time he was able to get a voice and speak, and he was able to heal quite a bit, and a lot of the trauma he'd been holding in his body was able to unwind and
Wow.
take a burden off of him. So that's just one example. And a quick other example is I used to teach at a lot of teaching centers. It was sort of the equivalent of all the venues you mentioned for music. There were those for healing, and I used to teach there. And there was a man who came to a workshop into the workshop, and on the outside one would never know this, he was a psychologist, but when it came time for people to do deeper work, what he shared is that he had a young adult son who was a yoga prodigy who'd gone to India to study with a master, but while he was there he had a tooth infection and went to a dentist, And because the sanitation was so bad, he got a horrible infection and died.
Oh my
And
gosh.
this man was absolutely devastated to lose his very talented son.
Yeah.
And he had no way to express the depth of the grief and the despair and the psychospiritual crisis. So there were about 30 of us in the rooms, my staff and the participants, and we ended up all picking him up, all of us, and holding him and just very gently rocking him, and he just bawled and bawled and bawled. It's like, I call it community as healer. Sometimes it literally takes a village to hold a heart, and it was so poignant and it touched everybody in the room.
Mm.
But that was a very poignant moment when I would go and lead groups like that in the community, because people carry things inside and there's no safe space to express them. And when someone can recognize it and create the space and also work deeper than words alone,
Mm.
healing can happen in a very profound way.
Wow. Wow. Well, let's get into some of your music now, because I know that in some cases, in many cases, I think you talk about some of these powerful emotions, and this first one's
Hmm.
called "Be the Light," which I also heard the other night at the at Club Cafe, and you're going to actually
Yeah.
sing that live for us tonight. I'm very excited about that. So
Yes.
that's great. So this is called "Be the Light." What's the background on this one?
This is a song that was inspired by Amanda Gorman's powerful inaugural poem.
Hmm.
I was very moved by her as a young poet. She had a maturity and a depth that was quite stunning. And towards the end of the poem, she said, "Don't just see the light, be the light."
Yes. Yeah.
And the song started writing itself within me.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Well, that's what we're
And
going
this
to do.
is an example of, it's a song I call Songs at the Heart of Our Times, but this is one that was designed to be sung by groups of people all over the world for
Ah,
healing and to bring people together. And with a little luck, this song may actually be part of a very exciting project that I don't want to talk about yet, because
okay.
until it happens, I don't want to announce it. But it was just recognized as a song for a potential project that's all about bringing positive global change.
Excellent.
So I'll do Be the Light.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Be the light, be the light. Join our brothers and our sisters seeking life and liberty. Be the light, be the light. Keep the flame of peace still burning in the heart. Humanity. Many hills to climb, barriers to scale, past moments knock us down, but still our spirits will prevail, trying to transform darkness underneath, finding ways to tunnel through the belly of the beast. Truth can light our way, onward, brave and free. Let's fear
So, I mean, it's just wonderful. First of all, I'm impressed with everything you do. I'm always shy about singing. How did you go about even learning how to sing? Was that something that's just very natural to you as a kid? Or,
It was very natural, but I had a lot of shame. Like again, I was a shy introvert and I was more
yeah,
comfortable hiding under the table with the cat or the dog than being with people.
right.
So it took a lot of inner work and a
Mm,
lot of inner healing to give myself permission to show up that way.
yeah.
So on the one hand, by myself I did it all the time, but to do it in public, it took tons of work. And the first round of my being a professional singer songwriter when I was in my very early 20s, it was terrifying to do
Mm,
that. And
yeah.
what let me make the difference, basically build the bridge. Here's Quinn, my 18-year-old, almost 18-year-old. Come on, Quinn. She
That's good.
almost wants to come up. She'll come up when she's ready. But
Good.
anyhow, what helped me build the bridge from shame and hiding to being present was realizing that I was just there to make a heart to heart to connection with people. It had
Yeah.
nothing to do with ego. It had nothing to do with being seen.
Right.
It was really just about making a connection with people. And over time, that allowed me to just show up and just make a connection.
That's wonderful. And do you do all your own lyrics?
Oh yes, I have a few songs I've co-written. I have a friend in New York, Mike Greenlee, who is a lyricist, and we co-write the lyrics on a handful of songs.
Yeah.
I have another song that's going to be on my January 1st, 2024 Recipe for Hope album called Love Always Wins that I co-wrote with a singer-songwriter friend from Philadelphia, Lisa Jeanette. We co-wrote the lyrics and the music on that. But most I write everything, and occasionally I collaborate.
That's great. And then finally, I just want to ask you, any advice to young people today about how to even go about writing a song? I mean, how do you come up with the chord progressions, the melody, or maybe what kinds of influences, helped you along the way? Maybe you have some favorite people you used to, composers and songwriters
Yeah,
you used to listen to.
well, I just write. Like I don't even think of chord progressions. Like I do it totally intuitively in my body, in my heart. I don't use my brain at all when I'm
Yeah.
doing it. It just literally grows inside of me.
Oh,
When I went to Yale, I was a music major, and unlike everyone else, I wasn't classically trained or privileged or any of that. I was a kid who loved music, and I bought my own piano when I was like 12 or 13 with money I saved, and I bought a guitar
wow.
when I was 11 because it cost less money, so I could save that money quicker. So I taught myself guitar off of chord charts, and then I took what I learned by myself on the guitar and put it on the piano. So that was my background when I went to Yale competing, so to speak. I don't believe in competing, but with people who are very different than me. But
Right.
it didn't make any difference because I heard stuff and I felt stuff, and that's what I did. So what I'd say to young people is, if you find yourself humming something or just find something coming through you,
Mm,
sing into your phone. It's, in the old days there were tape recorders, now there are phones.
yeah.
If you have an idea, just like write it on, type into your phone or on a little scrap of paper. When I was in
Mm,
my early 20s, something would come to me at any time and I'd like to scrawl it on any crap piece of paper I had. And
yeah.
then I'd compile them in a journal. But
Mm,
just like when a spark comes through, grab it because it could be
yeah.
a song seed. And
Yeah.
things like, the chords, melodies sort of tell you what the chords are because you find out what the chord is under a particular part of a melody, and
Yeah.
sometimes you can enhance it. On top there are times I've also just heard chord progressions, like the stuff I've written that's more jazzy. I hear something
Mm,
and that's different, but often songs come with music and lyrics together, and
mm,
it's after I've heard it and put the things on my iPhone tape recorder or scrawled it on pieces of paper
mm.
that then I put it together, and then it's like, oh yeah, here's what the chord progression is.
That's great.
So, yeah.
Excellent. So the
Yeah.
next song I thought we might do is No Time for Dreams. Um,
Yes.
what's the story behind that one?
Okay, this is one of the ones where the music came to me with the chord progressions, and then I had to figure it out on the piano.
Uh-huh.
Um, but the story behind this is one of the things I started doing during the pandemic because I couldn't go to the gym, which I did every day for most of my adult life, was
Mm,
take walks looking for
yeah.
beauty. So there's this place on the Charles River that's very beautiful with a bridge on one side and a
Mm,
waterfall. Actually, a
mhm.
bridge in the middle, a waterfall on one side, and on the other side it's more open and a lot of waterfall gather. And as I'd walk there during the different seasons, there are lily pads, there's all kinds of beauty there.
Mm.
So this song, No Time for Dreams, is set standing on the bridge at one of my very, very favorite places to take a walk to and just take in the beauty.
Okay, I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. Green lily pads, white flowers adorning blue, on the bridge looking down in the mirror of you. Streams swirl and flow, sunlight in my hair, cotton ball clouds, beauty beyond compare. No time for dreams in my day-to-day world. Kissed by the sun and embraced by the trees, my visions alive. Here I am free, I am touched by the moon as I dance in the breeze. No time, no time, no time for dreams. Peacocks and swans, hoping who can be found, sharing water and grass, resting on the dry ground. Beauty above, beauty below, waterfall whispering, wisdom it knows. No time for dreams when the world tugs and pulls. Here I'm kissed by the sun and embraced by the trees. The river's my lover, his flow sets me free. I am touched by the moon as I dance in the breeze. Dance, 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 dance in the breeze. Kissed by the sun and embraced by the trees. No time for dreams. No time for dreams. No time. No time. Time. No time for dreams. Make time. Sometime. Time. Sometime for dreams. Green lily pads, white flowers adorning blue, on the bridge looking down in the mirror of you.
Oh, very nice. Um, we're going to do next. Now, you also have these beautiful lyric videos, and we're going to do about four of those tonight. So this next one is September Morn. Did you want to give us a little preamble on that one?
Certainly. One of the things that I really love are gardens. In fact, I've realized how many songs I've written that have some sort of garden imagery, gardens, natures, rivers. A lot of them are there. And that often people's lives and relationships are very much things that follow the seasons.
Mm.
And the course of one's life is like a gigantic version of the seasons. So this is a song, I call it, it's about love, vision, hope, loss,
Mm.
and the seasons.
Wow, that's a great intro. Let me share my screen and we'll also hear it live here. I'm going to make sure I share sound. So it's always a challenge for me to remember that. Okay, so
Hmm.
this is September Morn.
With few last breaths of summer, the drought still going strong. Tomato plants to water, I harvest August corn. The bounty from my garden, watered with my tears. I thought we'd share the bounty for many, many years. You said that you were leaving. You offered shelter from the storm. But in my rearview mirror now, this warm September morn, you entered bright and hopeful. Your vision planted seeds, but gardens must be tended, not overgrown with weeds. Commitments not potential. Your inner well was dry. Words are fine, but talk is cheap. Without water, plants will die. In your eyes I saw you leaving, trapped inside your inner swarm. You're in my rearview mirror now, this warm September morn. While love sounds good in theory, it must stand the test of time. Will life's struggles break or strengthen this tender heart of mine? I wanted love through all the seasons, a place of shelter from the storm. But your mind was filled with demons, they took you down. Now I'm alone this September morn. I am alone this September morn.
Wow. It's a bittersweet song, but so hopeful too at the same time, isn't it?
Hmm.
It really is. Now this next song, by the way, it's on I believe it's on your latest album, Everyday Legend.
Yeah, it's on my Everyday Legends album.
Excellent. And by the way, where can people best buy that? Is that on your website directly?
Well, if you want a physical album, you need to do it through my website. My albums are on all digital platforms, and if people want to buy digital things, which is what a lot of people do, just go to any platform and it's there. But for physical albums, you need to come to me because the world doesn't seem to distribute them anymore.
Right. I know I bought 6 of them just the other day,
God
so
bless you.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait to listen to all of them. Okay, so this next piece is called Our Children's Prayer. It's a very touching one, and you want to tell us a little bit about the background?
Yes, this song was my response to the Uvalde shooting. It's written in the voices of the children of Uvalde. I've actually written quite a few songs about what it's like to be a child in this world. In fact, Everyday Legends, my 2023 album, is dedicated to our children, and there are a lot of songs about what it's like to be a child in the world. So this is written in the voices of our children, and I loved doing this recording because there are children singing on it. And it's trying to get to our hearts about looking at the roots of what's going on in our culture, because it's very sad that children and teachers and parents have to grow up where school shootings are actually part of the fabric of life.
Yeah, that is terrible. Well, without further ado, Our Children's Prayer.
Please don't bring me flowers at my grave. Don't tell me my death proof that I'm brave. Remember Columbine in 1999. 200 plus school shootings since that day. Please don't tell my mom to stop her tears. You shot a hole inside her filled with fear. We numb out our pain. The gun sings our refrain. Buried anger morphs to shrapnel rain. We are your children, daughters and your sons. Give us protection, don't shoot us with your guns. Our future is in your guiding hands. We want to be here to build a better land. Life on earth is frittering away. Action must be taken now, today. America's become the land where shooting guns is our trademark, as we simply think and pray. Many factors brought us to this place. Mental health neglected can erase the safety that's free when there's community. Social media induced violence is its face. We are your children, your daughters and your sons. Give us protection, don't shoot us with your guns. Our future's in your guiding hands. We want to be here to build a better land. We need to carve new pathways of respect. Divided political rhetoric is a wreck. The list of shootings grows. What we reap is what we sow. The data's there. Please let's use what we know. Please don't Let my life be the one you save.
Very poignant. You know, I
Mhm.
contribute to the Sandy Hook Promise. By the way, do they know about this? They should probably use this as their theme song, the Sandy Hook Promise people. So,
I actually haven't thought to send it to them.
yeah, yeah, this is just wonderful. Yeah, I notice all the people too involved in the background. You've got quite a
Yes.
coterie of people here. Yeah,
Yeah, it takes a village to make a
takes a
song.
village. Yeah, and Amy Malkoff, I understand, did the video on this too. We got some very
Yeah.
lovely
She's
footage.
she's an incredibly talented both musician and graphic artist and fine artist, and she does my lyric videos and she does a fantastic job.
Very
That
nice.
song is in the first round of the 2024 Grammys. Our Children's Prayer is up for Best American Roots Song.
Oh wow.
Everyday Legends, the album it's for, is for Best Folk Album. And
Mm,
Windows and Doors, which we'll be hearing a little bit later, is up for Best American Roots Performance. So
congratulations. That's wonderful. Very
thank
exciting.
you.
Yeah, very exciting. So how does for people that are composers and don't get, how do you even go about getting yourself nominated? How do you go about getting yourself
The way you get nominated is either if you become a member of the Recording Academy, which I'm grateful that I am, you can submit your work, or you can have people who are a member of the Recording Academy submit on your behalf.
mm-hmm.
So only members of the voting members of the Recording Academy, and I don't know if professional members can too, but you have to be a member of the Recording Academy to submit into
Mm-hmm.
they call it FYC for your consideration. The first round has quite a bit of material in tons of different categories. And then there's the whole process of trying to get people to listen to you to cast your vote. A
Mm-hmm.
very small percentage of people make it to the finals, which is when you get nominated on the ballot. So, like
Yeah.
when they do the Grammy show and they talk about the nominations, those are the people that made it to the final round and are on the ballot. And
Yeah.
to do that, to get there, is a lot of networking, a lot of hard work, and a bit
Wow.
of grace. So,
Now,
yeah.
is there any way we could vote for you, or do we have to be members to be?
You have to be a member of the
Okay.
Recording Academy. Yeah, I wish. There were, like, for the International Singer-Songwriter Association, where I was grateful I got to the finals in a bunch of categories this year and won an award.
Mm,
There, people can vote. Like, if I have stuff that's in consideration for the 2024 awards, I can post it on my Facebook page and say, here's the ballot, please vote for me in the categories. But
yeah.
for the Grammys, you have to be a voting member of the Recording Academy in order to
Oh,
vote.
okay. Well, let's do
Yeah.
some more live work now. One of the things you wanted to do next is Sanctuary. What's your story
Yes.
with that?
Yes. So I run an artist alliance group called Women in Music Gathering, and we do an annual show to benefit a good community charity of some sort. This year we chose domestic violence.
Mm,
And given the story I told you at the beginning, I know a little bit of that from certain points of view myself.
yeah.
And two really wonderful community organizations here in New England and Greater Boston are Casa and Respond. And I wanted to write a song for the show inspired by the domestic violence survivors. And what they did is Casa gave me some written stories and Respond gave me some videos. And I watched and listened. So not only was this song inspired by the stories, but it actually includes some of the words of the survivors.
Oh,
And
wow.
when I showed it to my liaisons at both organizations, they were like, this is really what it's about. But this is a hopeful, uplifting song. It's called Sanctuary. And we're going to be singing it on November 5th at the Burren in Somerville is where we're doing our show. Come
Mm,
on down and help us support two really important organizations. And I've invited people from the organizations to sing it on the stage with me. And I'm going to plant a seed for another exciting global project where this song is going to go more global, but I won't tell more until it's at that point. But I'm working with some amazing people, both from the Grammy community and the International Singing Songwriter Association community, to
mm,
create a version that's meant to just go global because sadly, domestic violence is not limited to any geographic location.
no. Or social either. Yeah.
Yes. So this is Sanctuary.
Oh, as you were playing, I was going through some of the CDs I have in front of me and all the songs you've written, and it's just phenomenal, just mind-blowing how prolific you are and these great messages. Now, this next piece is called Motherless Daughters. Is that on one of your CDs yet, or will that be on one in the future?
Sanctuary and Motherless Daughters, Fatherless Sons is actually going to be on my 15th studio album, which is called The Silence of the Stars.
Ah,
And
okay.
that will come out after the one that's coming out January 1st, A Recipe for Hope.
Hmm.
So September Morn is on A Recipe for Hope. Let's see if I chose anything else here. Yeah, I think that's the one for the upcoming album that I'm playing tonight. Yes.
I love it.
But anyhow, this is a song that's a very humbling song. It's actually both autobiographical, but it's also true for many other people
Mm,
about what gets passed on through the generations. It's called
mm,
Motherless Daughters, Fatherless Sons.
mm.
I am your daughter. You are my mom. You were weary long before you birthed me into this world. Lost your mom when you were 12. Carried the household by yourself. Put yourself through college without help from anyone. And motherless daughters, fatherless sons. I am your mother, you are my son. Emotional nurturance was not something he could offer you. His own challenge, mental health, sole focus was himself. Still cannot see the pain that he's passed on to you. And yet, motherless daughters, fatherless sons. Haunted or uplifted by folks we never knew. Neglect or care shapes our DNA. Our ancestors love in us, in our face and in our eyes, and His ghost who spoke us deep inside. Motherless daughters, fatherless sons, carry the wounds of generations passed on to them through no fault of their own. Inside they feel alone. They do their best, but struggle in a heartless world. And yet, motherless daughters, fatherless sons. Haunted or uplifted by folks we never knew. Neglect or care shapes our DNA. Our ancestors love in us, in our face and in our eyes, and His ghost who spoke us deep inside. A motherless daughter with a fatherless son. It is humbling that the legacies passed on through us. Though we heal and though we grow, we'll never really know
Linda. That's wonderful. By the way, I meant to ask, what are some, what famous songwriters did you listen to as a kid? And, what influenced you, do you think, the most as you look back on your
Well, a lot of part of it is when I was a little kid. That's when there was a whole singer-songwriter thing: Carole King, James
yeah,
Taylor, Joni
yeah,
Mitchell, Linda Ronstadt,
mm,
Carla Bonoff. So I listened to all of them, but I listened to every single song that Hal David and Burt Bacharach wrote, and everything that Dionne Warwick sung. So
yeah,
I like the entire Burt Bacharach songbook.
mm,
I also listened to Harry Belafonte.
mm,
I listened to Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass.
right,
I
yeah,
listened I actually loved Broadway musicals, and Godspell and Pippin, were
hmm,
two that I absolutely loved.
yeah,
So, I listened to lots of different things.
mm,
So, but those were some of the things that when I was a little kid, I
yeah.
remember.
Well, you listen to a lot of little things, and also you made a lot of little things. I'm just going to show people very briefly here on the screen. Here are just some of the CDs on your site. And it doesn't include the most recent one, by the way, which I'll show in a minute, but these are some of the CDs that people can buy on your site and all the music they can listen to. And this is not all of them, right? I mean,
No,
this is pretty amazing.
nope.
Very nice.
Actually,
Very
yeah, there's one I recorded when I was very young in my early 20s that was a tape, and that's not available. And you can still get Everyday Legends through me. I'll have to tell my webmaster to make sure that Everyday Legends is on that list.
nice. Yeah.
So
Let me see if I can show this on the screen. I'm not sure it'll come through now because okay, hang on a second.
here, I can show it.
Yeah, okay, you show it. That's great.
This is Everyday Legends. This is the 2023 one.
Yeah. Excellent. Beautiful. I love that picture of you too. It's nice and soft
Thank
and
you.
very, it's just very nice. Okay. So this next one is in fact another lyric video called Windows and Doors. And actually it's on this very album, isn't it? I believe Windows and Doors.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's on Everyday Legends, and it is in the first round of the Grammys for Best American Roots Performance. And
Beautiful.
I love the arrangement. It's a gorgeous arrangement.
That's wonderful. Tell us a little bit about it before I play this, would you?
Yes. Well, this is a song that was actually written as a birthday present for a friend of mine who turned 70, one of those really big birthdays.
Yes.
And one of the things I've noticed is that when people are approaching, whether it's 40 or 50 or 60 or 70, those big birthdays, they often slow down and step back and look at what's important. And I found as people grow older, they're often looking at what creates peace. So
Hmm.
this is a song about finding peace.
Hmm. That's beautiful. Okay, let me bring this up on the screen now. Windows and Doors.
A friend of mine, he texted me. In just 2 months, I'm 70. I feel my age erode in truth. My lists are short now, unlike my youth. I'll open windows instead of doors. I've traveled far, I have explored the hills of Spain, the Philippines. These moments are a part of me, but now my goal is just to be. My mind is willing, but my body has slowed down. With age comes quiet, activity makes me drown. A humbler man's what's left of me. How many days are left? I cannot know. Do what I need. Let the rest go. It's here and now. Just take it slow. With age, they say, comes wisdom, and wisdom's unattached. I've learned change is a constant. Not all your eggs will hatch. Instead of worldly flights, I'm comfortable at home. The sunlight in my window lets me know I'm not alone. My friends have asked me if I'm sad or down. I'm not, it's just peaceful with no one around. Is my life winding down or starting up? A new, slower pace with my coffee cup. All I want now is just to be a thick slice of lemon in my glass of iced tea, and the sunlight shining through my window comforts me. Comforts me. Happy birthday to me.
That's wonderful. You know, I can't help but think that you're letting us into your world, window of your world today. So I really appreciate that. And we're going to end this session with a final lyric video called Garden Buffet, which is a very lighthearted and fun one. And you just did this, I believe, with Doug Hammer.
Yeah, I just recorded it in the studio with Doug on Thursday with Doug Hammer. And yeah, this is a true story. This is what's been going on in my garden and my yard all year.
Uh-huh. And I can relate to that too. In fact, Doug Hammer I also met through the BACA organization, and from that seminal time that I was there, and he's just a wonderful singer,
Hmm.
composer, musician of his own, great accompanist in every respect, and has done some marvelous stuff for me as well. So I've just really, really love what he's doing. So, and this is about your garden and about some little animals that you like to visit. And without further ado, we'll play the Garden Buffet.
The rainiest summer since 1872. Some water's good for garden plants, perhaps for bunnies too. A fertile year for cottontails. In my backyard a restaurant has prevailed. Curly kale and collard greens, rutabaga sight unseen. Red tomatoes, yellows too, big and small they chomp and chew. Cauliflower, broccoli, Gone, they're saving none for me. Brussels sprouts, both leaves and stems. Mow them down, nothing's left of them. Cabbage red and cabbage green. Chomp the squash, but skip the weeds. Damn, I guess I should have planted carrots in the garden, the garden. Feasting on the garden buffet. In the garden, the garden. Feasting on the garden buffet. Baby bunnies, mamas too. Teenage bunnies play with you. Cottontails both big and small. Gray flecked fur, brown eyes on all. Joined by sparrows on the lawn. Turkey social hasn't gone. Snacking on the grass they thrive. Variety's the spice of life. Scores of bunnies everywhere. By the hedge, under the chair. Damn, I guess I should have planted carrots in the garden, the garden. Feasting on the garden buffet. In the garden, the garden. Feasting on the garden buffet. Feasting on the garden buffet. Feasting on the garden buffet. Next year I'll be sure I planted carrots.
I love it. And that's in his studio too. I can imagine.
Yep, that was in his studio on his gorgeous piano.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's wonderful. I can't thank you enough for this. In fact, as we close, I think I might play a little bit of this in the background because I just love this so much. But I want to remember too that I think on many Sunday nights at 8 p.m., you have a live performance.
Yes.
Is that true? And how do people find out
Yes.
and get to that? How do they get to it?
My Linda Marks Facebook page is where I do it, and it's usually Sundays at 8, but sometimes it's different because sometimes my weekend requires it. But I started in the middle of March of 2020, and I'm in my 4th year. But it's called Songs from the Heart, Meditations for the Heart. It's on my Linda Marks Facebook page, and just look for it, and you'll find it.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Now, Linda, I can't thank you enough. And I hope that all of the listeners today and many more, because this is going to be posted, people can watch it forever, find out about you and come visit your site and come see you perform. And when is that next date? November 5th, is it?
November 5th is the benefit for Casa Myrna and for Respond at the Burren in Somerville, Massachusetts.
Excellent.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my God, it's our pleasure. Thank you for all you do, Linda.
Thank you so much. Okay. Have a good night.